Artsy. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before, or welcome back if you watch my videos, and I thank you very much. I love to upcycle clothes and turn ordinary thrifted items into fun, one-of-a-kind pieces, even wearable art. Today we're making this tank top, which is kind of a tunic length, very long and flowy. It has lots of layers and fringes and velvet flowers. And I'm making this to go, I'm doing a whole outfit, but I'm doing a video for the top, the pants, and a beautiful black lace duster and possibly a hat. So I'm gonna post all these at once, but so you'll see at the end of this video what this will look like on and with the outfit. It's basically just a black tank top that I had, and it's kind of flowy, kind of a chiffon fabric. And then the bottom, I added this piece from pieces from a skirt. It was just kind of a layered skirt that had some tulle type fabric. I just cut that off and added it on. So I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so this is the top I'm starting with. It's kind of a chiffon material, and it has 2 layers. And I will be working only on the bottom layer because this will cover up all my seams and anything that I sew in there. And I want this to be another foot longer. So this has an asymmetrical hemline, kind of a jagged hemline. And so the shortest part, I want mine to be about another foot longer. I want it to be more of a tunic length. And I bought this skirt. Now I dropped it and just got it all tangled. Okay, so this is super cute on its own. It has all these tiers of sort of a, I want you to say chiffon, more of a tulle maybe, in between a chiffon and a tulle fabric. And I will use these. I bought this to use these parts. This is way too big for me. I wouldn't wear it anyway. And I just loved all this layering. You might kill me for cutting this apart because it's already so cute, but it's what I do. I need it for this outfit that I'm making. So I will show you what I do with this. Okay, I just sort of have my skirt thrown on the table here, and I'm just going to dig until I find the very bottom of the bottom layer. So basically this is it. I'm not going to bother straightening that completely out because I'm going to cut it anyway. And so basically I'm going to cut a 13-inch piece off of the very bottom. So what I'll do is I'll just go up the seam on the side a little bit, and I'll just kind of lay this out, and I will measure up 13 inches approximately. I'll just use my ruler and go about 1 inch above that. And I'll just start cutting a piece off here. And I'll lay my ruler down here and there just to make sure I'm on track, because this is not an exact science. I'll just keep going around until I have a complete 13-inch piece cut off. Okay, so I have that 13-inch wide chunk cut off. And what I'm going to do now, and there is just no exact rhyme or reason to this, I am just going to sort of go up and down and just make this asymmetrical. I just want it kind of tattered and jagged looking, and I'll do that all the way down. Okay, so here's the top I'm working with, and it has those 2 layers all the way around, but I'm going to show you just the front here. Try to scooch most of it out of the way. Okay, I'm lifting up that top layer and I'm working on the second layer. And what I'm going to do is I'll start at the side seam and I will just lay this new piece on top and I'll just follow that line. Try to show you how jagged it is. There's a point, there's a point. I'll just follow that line all the way around, starting at a side seam, and I'll overlap. I'll just go right on top of that second layer. I'll overlap about 1/2 inch, and then I'll just pleat it a little bit as I sew. So let's just say my needle's in here. I'll just start sewing, pleat it. I think this is about 3/4 of an inch over. Sew a little more, and then a few inches away or a couple inches away, I'll overlap that again about 3/4 of an inch, sew over that, and just keep on going. I want a little bit of pleating because I want a little bit of fullness. I don't want a gob of pleating because I don't want this to be super full. So when I get all the way around and back to where I started, I'll overlap this probably about 3 inches with the end of my fabric here to finish it off. And I'm just going to use a smallish straight stitch on this. If this was going to show, I would probably use a zigzag stitch. Say you only had one layer on your top and you were sewing on the outside. I do a zigzag stitch. I think it makes it look a little more finished, but this won't be seen because I have another layer going over top of it. So I'll just use a small single stitch. Okay, so here's what mine looks like with the tulle sewn onto the bottom. And you can add as many layers as you want. I'm good with this. And now what I want to do is I have this red velvet shirt and I want to make a couple little flowers that kind of look like roses out of this. And I want to put that with some fringe here and here. Fringe and a flower on both sides. Now on me, this fits more up like this. My mannequin is super petite, so things are really big on her. But this will fit me more like this. And I'll take a couple pins, and while I have it on the mannequin, I'm going to mark where I want my fringe and my flowers. So this top is created for an outfit that has a duster, kind of like this. And so it would be really cute to put the flower right underneath the spaghetti strap here, but then it would be covered by the duster. So I want it off center, but I want it, the cat's distracting me, sorry. He gets fed down here. I'm down in the basement. And so whenever I come down here, he just thinks it's feeding time all the time and sort of begs. So anyway, focus. So I want the flower off center, but more in the front so that the duster doesn't cover it. And so I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to mark right about here. And that'll remind me where I want that. Now, the other set, the fringe and the flower, I want on the opposite side. And I also want it off center, but not so far that the duster would cover it. So I'm coming more towards the center and just slightly going out. And I put my pin right here. So I'll have a little cluster here and a little cluster here. And I'll show you how I make the flowers and do the fringe. Okay, I cut out some fringe and I used some black lace. Now this was cut from a remnant from another project, which is actually the lace duster that I was talking about. And these are about 1/2 inch wide and about 20 inches long, and I cut out 4. And then I wanted, so this is the velvet that we're making the flowers out of. So I wanted something, a fringe that would coordinate with that fabric. And this is what I found in my stash. And what this is it's like an old Christmas ribbon with the wire. And this is way too wide, and I don't want a wire. So what I did was just cut off the wire, and I just cut out, and then I went ahead and cut 4 pieces out of it, about 1/4 inch wide and 17 inches long. So I'll show you how I'll attach them to the top. Okay, so this is super easy. I'm just taking 2 of the black lace fringes that I cut out, and I'm taking 2 of the burgundy, and I'm just going to put them on top of one another. So we have kind of a cluster of fringe. And I'll just go to my machine, and where I have this pin, it's pinned at the very top here, but I want to come down about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Lay that on there, and then just zigzag stitch over top of it. And then once I get that done, I'll take my other cluster and I'll go right to this pin where we marked where we want it. I'll push it out because this is cute. It'll go a little longer than the tulle. And I think that's cute. So again, I'll go 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch above that hemline, and I'll just zigzag stitch that on. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now that burgundy ribbon that I cut will fray a lot. And if you want something a little cleaner, I want mine tattered and messy, but you could just use like burgundy ribbon or even strips of t-shirt. They stretch out to like a fine little string. So this is what we have so far. And now we're going to make the flowers, and that'll be the last thing we do to this. Okay, I cut out 2 rectangles from that burgundy wine colored velvet shirt, and these are about 13 inches by 4.5 each. And so I'll set one aside for now. And what I do is I'm going to turn this over. This is the wrong side, the boring side. This is the velvet on the bottom. And I am going to fold that in half. So I have the velvet side showing here. And then I'm going to take a needle and thread with a coordinating thread. And I am just going to catch this corner here and stitch it a couple times so it stays secure and the knot doesn't pull through. And then I will just do a giant stitch all the way down to the end here. So I'll just go in. Let's see if I can do it so you can see it. Just go in and come up. And I'll just pull that a little bit. I won't pull it super tight yet. Then I'll stay along the bottom as close as I can. And just keep doing that all the way down. See, we just have some big stitches like that. Okay, I kind of turned this around. I started here and did all my stitching to the very end here. And now I'm just going to pull that thread to create that. Okay, and so I didn't pull it super tight. I could even have this a little bit looser, but once I get it where I want it, then I'm going to take my thread and I'm just going to make a knot right here so that that shape stays in place. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll just start wrapping this around until I have a flower shape. And then what I'll do, I still have this needle and thread attached. I'll go up from the bottom up through the bottom and then up through the top. Then I'll go back in through the top and down through the bottom. And I'll just keep doing that until I feel like my flower is secure. And I may have to thread another needle when I do this after I weave it and do all that. I rarely have enough to secure this flower, but I'll use what I have left on my needle and thread, and I'll probably thread another little bit to finish it off. Okay, now I have my 2 flowers done, and sometimes I'll take a bead or a pearl or a little earring or necklace pendant and put it right in the center, but I want these a little more simple and plain, so I won't do that. So now I need to just sew them on to my fringe clusters here and the top. So basically I'll just take my flower and put it right over top of where I sewed that fringe, and I'll just take a needle with coordinating thread. I'll go up from underneath. I'll push it through the center and back down. And just keep doing that. You know, I'll probably do at least 10 stitches to make sure it's pretty secure. And when I get that one sewn on, I'll come up to the top and I'll do the same to this flower. Here's what it looks like with the flowers sewn on. Now I'm going to show you the whole outfit together. Okay, so here's the top all finished with the entire outfit. I just love it. I will link, I'm posting all 4 tutorials today, so I will link the pants, the duster, the hat, and you're watching the top. So I'll link all those in my description below. Thanks for watching.